At least it's warm here in North Carolina, but it's windy. We're supposed to have some showers tonight, but it doesn't look like they're going to hit our area. But at least it's out of, it was in the 70s today. It's great.
I wish we had the 70s. We're in the 30s, 40s, but it's crummy out. Our topic today is key points when considering getting life insurance. And Alan, before I even get to that question, really, till I met you, I really didn't understand the value of life insurance. I always learned about term, which Susie Orman and all of them talk about. Get term, where at the end you have no money at all.
Nope.
Well, cash value life insurance is an absolute game changer. So, what are some key life milestones when you should consider getting life insurance, Alan?
Well, it's like you said, term life insurance. I mean, all life insurance is great, but term life insurance, if you buy term life insurance and you live past 1 day past life expectancy, there's no cash value. So consider cash value life insurance, whether it's whole life or index universal life. And understand it goes tax deferred, get your distributions tax free. So tax free money through these policies, from what I've seen in the illustrations I've done, and I've got eight insurance policies on myself and my family. They will outperform a stock portfolio that I show, and it provides all the benefits of cash value life insurance. The money does not affect the taxation of Social Security or the means testing Medicare Part B, which will be in the thousands of dollars in your retirement. People aren't prepared for that because I don't think their CPAs tell them. There's tax-free money for long-term care, and that can be in hundreds or millions of dollars paid for by pennies on the dollar. People are not prepared for long-term care, Neil, and 70% of all Americans are going to need long-term care at some point in their life. 40%, to include my son, are in long-term care right now, and it costs between $50,000 to $200,000 a year. It goes up by 6% every year, and you get these policies. You're protected from lawsuits, liens, and judgments. You become your own bank, paying yourself compound interest and not the financial institutions, and eliminating the effective interest costs that very few people know about that you pay on the money you borrow. You have liquidity, you use control of your money. It's not like a 401k where it's locked up until you're 59 and a half. And then you can only put in so much. It's all controlled by the government. And really the only people, unless the market has done really well, make money off these 401ks, it's of course Wall Street and fee-based advisors, which get paid a fee on your 401k, whether you make money or not. And the average fee, now I've said this many times, a 1% fee over a 30-year period will reduce your income by 1/3. The average fee in a 401k by lap times and Forbes magazine is 2.99%. People are going to have less than half of their money, and they're going to get with taxes anywhere from 20 to over 55%. So they're not prepared for it. And then also you've got all the risk in stock market, bond portfolios, money market funds, mutual funds. Mutual fund fees are over 4%. But I'm talking about the risk in retirement that people don't even think about. They think, "Oh, I've got $1 million in my 401k. I'm good to go." That's nothing. That means a 4% distribution rate. That's $40,000 a year. That used to be a safe distribution rate to last for 30 years. Well, what if you live past 95? I have all my plans go to 120. I mean, it's just there's so many benefits.
It
Like
totally is. Yeah.
with the stock portfolio, you have all the risk in retirement. It's not about rate of return in retirement. It is about distribution of your assets. And when I talk about risk in retirement, very few people know about sequence of returns risk because their financial advisors don't tell them. I don't think the CPAs or the attorneys even know. But if you have a loss the first 2 to 3 years of a 10 or 20-year period when you go to retire, you're going to be out of money in the 5th to the 9th year as compared to the 2 or 3 years of a 10 or 20-year period when it falls at the last like 7 through 10 or 17 through 20. Because what you're doing is you're taking money out of a depleting asset, and if you need this 4% distribution rate, that's $40,000 a year from a $1 million stock portfolio. If you go down and lose 10%, not only lose 10%, let's see that $1 million stock portfolio went down to 900,000 minus the 40,000 you took out minus the fees that you pay that advisor, whether you made money or not. So now you're taking 7 or 8% out. And if something happens like in 2008 where people lost 38 to 52%, Neil, you're going to be out of money in the 5th or 6th year, and you knew nothing about it, and you're not protected. It's
You're
the greatest college funding vehicle available. In fact, I've got two whole life insurance policies for my two granddaughters. It's far better than the 529 plan. It beats it. I mean, it beats it all to pieces. Because first off, the 529 plan, if you don't use it for certain higher education, it's a 10% penalty. Uh, if you, I mean, there's other things. I mean, they've changed a little bit, but the thing is, you've got $100,000 in that 529 plan, and you got kids going to school next year, and you just lost 50%. Now you're down to $50,000. Your plans have entirely changed, and people don't understand. When you have a 50% loss in the market, it takes you 100% gain just to get back to even. Um, the other thing that these cash value policies do, they guarantee your income. So you're eliminating sequence returns risk. You're eliminating the number one fear in retirement, Neil, is running out of money before you run out of life. You're eliminating tax risk. You're eliminating market risk. Again, you're protected from lawsuits, liens, and judgment. I mean, the list goes on and on. But all the stock portfolio does is compound those risks.
it definitely does compound those risks, and it's something to look at because you never know when the economy, you never know when another COVID could come, you never know when a serious disaster and the market crashes and you're stuck. If it was your time to retire, are there any life insurance riders you recommend?
Absolutely. Chronic illness, accelerated death benefit rider for that accelerates the death benefit if the insurer becomes terminally ill or chronically ill. And once exercised, there is a charge associated with the rider, but it I mean, it protects people. It gives you access to your money. A loan protection rider. They won't let you take too much money out of the policy because if you do, then it becomes a taxable event. Terminal illness and accelerated death benefit rider. This is absolutely huge. Neil, this is why I got into this business because I knew nothing about life insurance. I thought like 90%, 99% of people out there that life insurance was a death product. But when my daughter-in-law called me January 5th, 2010, she said, Alan, I've been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and they've given me 6 months to live. And of course, we were terrified. But my son had already been disabled for 3 years and still not getting his disability. So there's no money coming in other than what I'm helping him with. But I'm looking, okay, how long do I go before I have to sell my house and move into an apartment or whatever? But she got to access the death benefit within 1 year of diagnosis, the complete death benefit, 100% tax free. That saved my son from bankruptcy and it took a huge financial strain off of me. And after because she did pass away a year later, there's still enough money left in that death benefit that he put a great down payment on a house. They have a house that behind me here where we live in Fayetteville, North Carolina. But people don't know this stuff, and they need to. I mean, there's other things. A waiver of charge. Let's say you become disabled. You put that right on. I put that on almost every policy I do because if you become disabled, your policies are automatically paid for.
It's gigantic because the difference is you're protecting yourself, Alan. You invest
Yeah.
in the stock market, you're not protecting your money. You really aren't. You're really risking your money versus having any reward. And if you become disabled or God forbid go into long-term care, you're going to be covered versus the other way. You're just throwing things against the wall and hope it sticks and hope the market does well.
Exactly. But here's the other thing too, Neil. If people do have an insurance policy, a whole life or index universe, now there's great insurance policies. They're great companies. People need to understand there's fraternal insurance companies. There's mutual insurance companies. Both of those companies look out for the policyholders. Now there are stock companies that look out for the stockholders. I try to do 95% of my business with mutual companies or fraternal companies because they look out for the benefit of the policyholders. But your policy may not be built right to do what you want to do. If you want me to look at your policy and do a review of it, we can take a look at it, possibly do a 1035 exchange, change that policy for one of them that I do that's properly vetted and properly built to give you all the benefits of a cash value life insurance policy, whether it's whole life or index universal life, because you want tax-free income in retirement.
If you don't have tax-free income after retirement, you're running into a situation where you're just totally out of money. But plain and simple, because a stock portfolio is not going to keep you going forever, Alan, is it? $1 million
No,
if you live for 30 years, that's not much.
no,
For
no,
sure.
it's not.
And we gotta be have a tax-free retirement so you can enjoy life. Then you say being retired is being Saturday every day.
Yeah,
Oh
you're
man.
exactly right there.
Do you recommend converting a term policy into a permanent one?
Absolutely. Anytime, if you can afford it, that's that. Because I'll tell you, cash value life insurance is more expensive than term life insurance, but that's set by the actuaries of the insurance company. And like I said, if you live one day past life expectancy, there's no cash value. Now there are, you can get your premiums back in some cases, but you pay more for that. But I put term policies on some of my policies that I have to protect the children. But the children are gone; they don't need that extra insurance, so I'll take that term rider off. But the big thing is when I built this policy, it's built to give the person, you know, protection with the death benefit, long-term care protection, but it's built mainly for income and retirement.
Amazing to know that there's these opportunities. So it's not difficult to convert a term to a permanent.
Yeah. I mean, you got to like everybody, you got to qualify for, you know, if you're chronically ill or something like that, you're not going to qualify for it. And you may, and I because there's different tables that you qualify for. Hopefully, you don't smoke because you're going to get much better rates. But let's say that you've got diabetes or something like they may table rate you, but you're still paying pennies on the dollar for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of protection, for, not only for yourself, but for your family and beneficiaries.
That's fabulous. Okay. Uh, do you have any other tips for someone to keep in mind when looking to buy life insurance?
Absolutely. Like I said, if you've got to qualify for it, but if you don't qualify for it, look at a fixed or fixed indexed annuity. Now, I'm not against stock portfolios. I want everybody to be diversified, but you need to understand this. Like we're talking about that $1 million policy, 4% distribution rate, that's $40,000 a year. Neil, that's not guaranteed. You'd only need approximately $650,000 in a certain fixed indexed annuity. Actually, there's several of them that are properly constructed to give you the same $40,000 a year with increasing income when the indexing strategy goes up. And that's guaranteed for the rest of your life. And I don't care if that accumulation value runs out when you're 85 or 86. By contract, the insurance companies have to pay you that guaranteed income for the rest of your life. And you can set it up for both husband and spouse. I mean, it's about a 0.5% less, but my God, that's the guaranteeing two lives. And if there's any money left over in the accumulation value when they both pass away, it does not go to the insurance company. It goes to the beneficiaries. You know, again, these annuities protect you for the number one fear uh, in retirement, running out of money before you run out of life. But let's go back to that $650,000, Neil. That leaves you $350,000 that you can take that money and pay the taxes on that stock portfolio, that 401k. So now there's no required minimum distribution. Does not affect the taxation of Social Security or the means testing Medicare Part B, which I said is in the thousand. Uh, you're protected from lawsuits, liens, and judgments. You get rid of market risk. You get rid of longevity risk, which is a risk multiplier. You get rid of sequence returns risk. And understand this: the older you get, the higher the distribution rate is. I've got a 67-year-old right now from one of the annuities I did. It's a fixed annuity. She's getting a 9.23% distribution rate. You can't do that. And there's no fees. There's no fees to this policy, to this annuity. You can't do that with a stock portfolio.
No. It's such anything else to add, Alan? This is such fascinating information, but I think that ultimately, how many people do you talk to all the time that are just not educated when it comes to cash value life insurance?
Well, the thing is, Neil, we've all heard this stuff that buy term and invest the difference, and insurance is a terrible investment. Well, first off, it's not an investment because there's no other financial vehicle out there that will give you the benefits, the protection, and the performance of a properly constructed cash value life insurance policy. It's in an asset class all of its own. Banks have over, I think, $180 billion or more. I think it's closer to 200 billion in cash value life insurance as one of their top tier one assets. It's more than twice as much they have in real estate, and much, much more than they have in a stock portfolio. And I always tell people, I said, these banks are supposed to have the greatest financial minds in the world. If they think cash value life insurance is great for their banks, it's called BOLI, bank-owned life insurance, and corporations, it's called COLI, corporation-owned life insurance. If they think that's good enough for them, don't you think you ought to have it as part of your portfolio?
All right. Best place to go is email you at strategicwealth, the number 0 at gmail.com, or call you at 910-551-1046, or go to strategicwealthstrategies.com. And Alan, you have so many ways to save business owners and individuals on their taxes.
Oh,
And that's
yes.
going to be very, very important when taxes is going to be going up soon. But ultimately, we would like to pay less in taxes. If you did an overall survey, I think there's so many people that would like to pay less in taxes.
I've got a strategy right now that I do because I'm a tax strategist. You know, I don't give tax advice. That's for your CPA and your attorney possibly. But my team, we're tax strategists, we're tax specialists. My CPAs are tax specific attorneys, tax specific CPAs. And what I mean by specialists, you know, I explained this before. Let's say I'm your medical doctor. I can treat you for minor injuries and minor illnesses. And but if you want your knee operated on because you've got a problem with your knee, you want an orthopedic surgeon, the specialist. And that's what I have in my team, as compared to 99% of these CPAs, attorneys, and financial advisors out here that they're not. They're like your medical doctor. They're not the specialist. So we as a strategy, I just tell people, I said, we know strategies that your advisors may know a little bit about or nothing at all. But if they don't build these strategies right, it can be devastating to their financial future. But I've got one video out there: never pay taxes again. On a tax strategy, it's a tax code that's been around for almost 2 decades. If we use this correctly, you may never pay taxes again. I don't care if you're making $10 million.
Got to contact Alan, and you got to go reach out to every $10 million earner out there. Appreciate it, Alan.
Anybody come talk. I do not charge a fee for my consultation. And one of the things, I've just finished my book. It's in final print. Time for a new retirement plan, tax free. I can show you how to do all these things I've been talking about, other than the tax strategies, because I have to consult with my CPAs and attorneys on that. But it should be coming out and be available on Amazon, hopefully by the middle of the month. But it's very personal. I tell the story about what happened to my family, why I got into this business. But here's the one thing. I end it by going, you know, your CPA, your advisor, your attorney, they're all advisors. It's a job for them. But for me, it's my passion. And I think that makes a big difference when I talk to people.
It totally does, because your story is amazing. People got to check out your book once it comes out. Cannot wait, Alan. Appreciate it, sir.
All right. Have a good day.
All right. That was the Strategic Wealth Strategies podcast, guys.